Super Bowl 60 Ultimate Preview. We have the New England Patriots, who were picking fourth in the draft last year. Miraculous Mickey Mouse playoff run to the Super Bowl, taking on a Seattle Seahawks team that played good teams all year, is healthy on the offensive side of the ball, top 3 defense. We're going to break it all down, and I'm not going to be a sour Jets fan hater sourpuss. I'm going to try and be nice to the Patriots. We're going to talk about how the Patriots can win this game, because the Seahawks should honestly be 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 point favorites in this game. They're only 4.5. I think we're going to see more money come in on Seattle as the week progresses. It started off unloading on Seattle after NFC Championship. We saw it at like 70% of the money. It's down to like 65% of the money. We've seen the line grow from 3.5 to 5.5. It's down to 4.5. There is a little bit of movement there that is worth noting. I don't want to be on Seattle if 70% of the public is also on Seattle. That is just a recipe for disaster. But I think Seattle should be favored by 9.5 points. You break down every single position group. I'm talking wide receivers, running backs, offensive line, Seattle. Quarterback. In my mind, it's Seattle. And Drake May is definitely a higher ceiling than Sam Darnold. He definitely had a better regular season than Sam Darnold, although Sam Darnold averages more yards per completion, more adjusted yards per pass attempt, but that's neither here nor there. Sam Darnold turned the ball over way more, but he also played good defenses. Drake May didn't play a top 10 scoring defense all regular season. He played 3 in the playoffs. The offense is averaging 15 points per game. He has a 55% completion percentage. He has more turnovers than touchdowns, right? So I trust Sam Darnold more, coming off of the best game of his career in the biggest moment of his career in this game, with a better offensive line, a better defense supporting him, a better supporting cast around him. Kenneth Walker is better than Ramondre or Travion. JSN's better than any receiver on the Patriots. The offense in Seattle is better. And then defensively, no disrespect to the Patriots defense, because they are a very, very good unit. Milton Williams, I think, is the best defensive tackle in the sport. One of them, top 5 at least. I'm taking Byron Murphy and Leo Williams. I'm taking the guys they have on the edge. I'm taking Ernest Jones in their linebacking core, and I'm taking their secondary. So every single position group is in Seattle's favor. How are they only 4.5 point favorites? That's what I don't understand. And as we get further into the episode, we're going to try and pick apart the holes in the Seattle team. And there are a few of them that I have found. But let's start with Seattle's offense versus the Patriots defense. And I've been seeing this narrative around TikTok that Christian Gonzalez is going to lock up JSN. I've been seeing that Christian Gonzalez TikTok edits all since this Super Bowl matchup was announced. All I've seen is JSN's got it coming with Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez is really going to lock up Jackson Smith-Njigba. And that couldn't be further from the truth. The Patriots defense has been bad against the elite wide receivers they've seen this season. Emeka Egbuka, 115. Drake London, 118. Chris Olave, 98. Tyreek Hill, 109. Brock Bowers, 103. Those last two, there was no Gonzalez, so you can throw an asterisk on them. Zay Flowers, 84. They didn't play a whole lot of elite receivers, but the elite receivers they did play had big days. Why am I supposed to think that now all of a sudden they'll be able to slow down JSN, who led the NFL in receiving yards this season? New England didn't lock down a single number 1 receiver all year. They didn't play any to begin with. They didn't play a whole lot of them. And the ones they did went off. Drake London, 118. Emeka Egbuka, 115. Zay Flowers at 85 receiving yards. Dalton Kincaid, who was number 2 receiver on the Bills, 110 receiving yards. Tyreek Hill, Brock Bowers, both had big days. No Christian Gonzalez. So how am I supposed to believe that now all of a sudden this Patriots defense is going to have an answer for the number 1 receiver or the receiving yard king in the regular season? Not to mention Derek Stingley, who's better at football than Christian Gonzalez, even though that's not going to be the matchup. JSN moves all over the Seahawks offense pre-snap. It's never going to be just him on Gonzo. I'm sure we'll get a few plays, a few instances where that will be the case, but that's never going to be like Gonzo's not going to follow JSN, because that'd be a bad matchup for New England. Because JSN against Derek Stingley had 123 versus Stingley and Houston's defense. He had 100 yards versus Jacksonville's defense. Like he's had good days against good defenses. The Patriots haven't been able to slow down the elite receivers that have been on their schedule, although there have been very few. Obviously, Patriots Mickey Mouse schedule. Patriots are not stopping Jackson Smith-Njigba. I need to stop seeing those edits. But I do think they have a good chance of stopping Kenneth Walker. And here we go. Here's some Patriots glaze. A lot of you guys probably just think you're probably tired of me hating on the Patriots, sounding like a sourpuss, being upset, regurgitating the same things over and over about how much I hate the New England Patriots, this, that, and the third. And I totally understand where you're coming from. I am upset. I am a hater. It's bullshit, and I'm upset about it. But I will give them their flowers when it's time to give them their flowers. And I think Milton Williams is still one of the most underrated defensive tackles in the NFL. There's a short list of guys I'd rather have on my team at the defensive tackle position than Milton Williams. This guy is unbelievable. The Patriots are undefeated in games where Milton Williams has played this season, and they're like that for a reason. He had 8 pressures on 28% and a 28% pass rush win rate against a fully healthy Denver Broncos offensive line in the AFC Championship game. That's the best offensive line in the sport, and Milton Williams had a day. Milton Williams has 6 pressures this postseason in under 2.5 seconds. The only defensive tackle with more pressures in a postseason under 2.5 seconds in the next-gen stats era is Aaron Donald, with 12, by the way, which is ridiculous. One of the best defense players of all time. But that's how good Milton Williams has been. He is unbelievable. The Patriots defense allows 76 rushing yards per game when Milton Williams is on the field. The best run defense in the NFL in the regular season in yards per game was the Jacksonville Jaguars. They allowed 85 yards per game. When the Patriots defense has Milton Williams, they are the best run defense on a yards per game basis by 10 yards. He is the best player on the Patriots roster. He is the best player on the Patriots defense. He is the key to this game. If he can get through and match up on Andrew Bradford and disrupt Sam Darnold, get in his face, get a strip sack, make him force a few turnovers, speed up that internal clock, that's how the Patriots win this game. Get pressure, which they have gotten a lot of pressure, but it needs to be a ridiculous amount because we'll get into the Patriots offense. I have no idea how they're moving the ball. Okay, Milton Williams, though, on Andrew Bradford, who is their worst offensive lineman, the worst player on the Seahawks offense. That's where they need to attack. And if you watch this Patriots defensive line, this Patriots defense as a whole, I don't want to say very exotic, but they bring a lot of pressure. They show you different looks pre-snap, and very rarely in a passing scenario are you getting straight on rushers. 4 guys running straight on you. Christian Barmore, K'Lavon Chaisson, and Milton Williams, they stunt a lot. It's delayed stunts. It's instant. It's a whole lot of movement on that defensive line. If Mike Vrabel can manipulate their Christian Barmore, Chaisson, and Milton Williams, where they get one-on-one matchups with Andrew Bradford, the right guard for Seattle, they will win those matchups. And that's how they win this game. That being said, if you're Seattle, you need to do everything in your power to make sure that Bradford's never left on an island a single time in a passing down because he will get eaten alive. These edge rushers aren't elite. They're not that good, but the interior of the Patriots defensive line has been at a whole nother level in this playoffs, led by Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, who's a very good player in his own right, but his production is very much predicated on having Milton Williams on this defensive line. He is the best player on this Patriots defense. For him, the odds for him to win Super Bowl MVP right now, you can throw $5 on it. You win 1,000. I will be doing that. I'm not kidding. I will be doing that. I think he is the key. If Milton Williams has the game of a lifetime, I'm talking sack, strip sack, pressures in Sam Darnold's lap all fucking night, and they stop Kenneth Walker, who's playing his best football right now, that's how the Patriots win this game and slow down the Seattle offense. And then slow down the Seattle offense. And then they need a kick return touchdown, or they need some short fields. They need some field goals. That's what they need, because I don't think they're moving the ball at all on the Seahawks defense. But if they don't stop Kenneth Walker, they're fucked. If they don't stop K9, they are fucked. But I think they will be able to. Like I said, with Milton Williams, they have the best run defense in the NFL by 10 fucking yards on a per game basis. Do you guys understand how crazy that is? It's a very marginal league. Like, it's 85 yards per game, 86, 87. It's like 1 yard differences if you go and sort it by yards per game, rushing yards allowed per game. With Milton Williams, 76 rushing yards per game. That is a ridiculous difference. The 10-yard difference is crazy. That's how dominant he is, and he needs to be that dominant against the Seattle offensive line. That, although it is really good, Charles Cross, Gray Zabel, and company, it's good. It's not elite, especially on the right side. I forget their right tackle's name. He's not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not elite. He's not elite. And that's where they have to win this game. And they should be able to stop Kenneth Walker, who's had a very, very good playoffs, averaging 89 yards per game on the ground, 5 yards per carry, 128 yards per game from scrimmage. Good news. Like I said, Milton Williams, best tackle in the sport, 76 yards per game on the ground allowed when he is on the field. So that's the difference. Stop K9 first. I mean, you can have a game plan to stop JSN, but I don't know. They haven't been able to stop elite pass catchers all season. counterpoint to my point about them not being able to stop elite pass catchers, that they put up big yardage totals, but the Patriots are also winning in a lot of those games, which means they're going to pass the ball more. Not that JSN's better than any receiver they've seen all year. So I'm just thinking out loud here, playing devil's advocate to myself. Like the reason a lot of those guys have big totals is because they've been playing from behind all year against the Patriots. So they're going to pass the ball more, right? But we'll see. I think JSN's going to have a big day. I won't be touching him. His receiving yard prop, because it's probably going to be the most bet prop in the history of Super Bowl. So I'm not going to take it. And I don't like a whole lot of overs in this week. I'm not going to give you guys my player props. I'm not going to give you guys my player props. I'm not going to give you guys my picks. This is just straight analytics. Wednesday we will have the picks episode. The ultimate betting guide to Super Bowl 60. That is the Wednesday we will have that. So make sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. That will drop on Wednesday. And I've cooked before in the Super Bowl. Last year, not so much. 2 prior years before that, we've cooked. Last year, I bet Cooper DeJean interception. Bang! I looked to my buddy before the Super Bowl started last year. I'm like, should we just bet Cooper DeJean touchdown for the culture? I swear to God, you guys are going to be like, oh, he's LeBroning, he's LeCapping. That didn't happen. Ask my friends. That was a genuine thing that happened. And I did bet Cooper DeJean touchdown as well. Or Cooper DeJean interception. I promise you I said that. Either way, I have cooked in the Super Bowl before. Last year excluded. I have cooked in the Super Bowl. I love what I'm seeing in the player prop market. I think I have a fantastic grasp. So make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you leave a like. Super Bowl 60 betting guide ultimate dropping Wednesday. Or I'll record it. Yeah, dropping Wednesday. All right. What were we talking about? Patriots defense. Here's the other thing. If you're Seattle, I guess we can flip it over here. Let me take a sip of water, regather my thoughts. Okay, yeah. The biggest weakness, Andrew Bradford, right? I don't think you're going to be able to run the ball a whole lot if you're Seattle. You should try to establish the run game, but I think you're going to have a tough time seeing it come to fruition against this Patriots front seven, one of the best rushing games in the NFL. I've talked about the run defense at nauseum. I won't go any further on it. But either way, I think you're going to have a tough time running the ball against this Patriots defense. Got to be short passing game. Short passing game. Quick slants, stick routes, 5-yard option routes, 5-yard hitches, RPOs, bubble screens, short screens, extensions of the run game on early downs. That's the key. That would be my game plan. I don't think you're going to be able to run the ball. You can't abandon it because play action is such a big part of this offense to take those deep shots down the field to Rashid Shaheed, to Jackson Smith-Njigba. So you can't abandon it completely, but set yourself up to succeed and win those first downs by the quick passing game with Sam Darnold. Have him two-step, boom, get the ball out fast. I think that's an area they need to attack for sure. I feel like they're not the biggest RPO offense. I could be wrong in that. That's just going off of vibes and watching them this year. I feel like they're not the biggest RPO offense. I think you could install a few of those this year or this week. Get some quick RPOs. Get the ball out fast. Get 3, 4, 5-yard completions on first down. We live with that all day long and twice on Sundays against a team that you're going to have trouble running the football against, okay? I also would much rather have Sam Darnold and Drake May on my team going into Super Bowl 60 because Drake May against top defenses this year has been horrible. He didn't play a single top 10 defense in points allowed per game in the regular season. He's played 3 straight. The Patriots offense is allowing 15 points per game. Drake May has a 55% completion percentage. Drake May has more turnovers than touchdowns. Sam Darnold in the playoffs, 240 yards per game, a 78 passer rating to Drake May's 51 passer rating, or QBR, excuse me. He's completing 70% of his passes to Drake May's 55%. He has 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Just threw for 3 touchdowns and 350 yards against a team that was top 10 in scoring in the regular season defensively. Sam Darnold has played infinitely better than Drake May has in these playoffs. He's not turning the ball over. He led the NFL in turnovers in the regular season. He's throwing touchdowns. He's completing passes against a couple of pretty decent defenses. And obviously, the Rams secondary got exposed in the playoffs big time. But that's a team that Sam Darnold had 6 turnovers against in 2 games in the regular season. Was awful against them when he was in Minnesota last year. So it's a defense that has gotten Sam Darnold's number. He stepped up in a major way and balled out against them in the biggest game of his career when they needed him to. They needed him to answer. It's not like he got carried by the defense, although the defense did do a good job. Special teams did do a good job. Really, just the Rams player dropping that punt was the difference in the game. But either way, he capitalized on the opportunities that were presented to him by LA and by the Seattle defense, and he capitalized in a major way, especially on that last drive. The Rams punt the ball after missing or not converting on that 4th and goal. They're deep in their own territory. Sam gets 3-4 first downs, completion to JSN, completion to Cooper Kupp. They're moving the ball down the field. Stafford only sees the ball again with 20 seconds left on the clock. Sam Darnold, calm, cool, collected, playing his best football at the best time in the playoffs. I'm taking him over Drake May in Super Bowl 60 all day and twice on Sundays. Give me Sammy D. Give me Sammy D. That being said, I alluded to it earlier. The Patriots win this game if Sam Darnold shits down his leg. That's how they win this game. And if they can do that by getting pressure up the middle with Milton Williams, Christian Barmore being in his lap all game. Let's talk about this Pats offense. That has been just awful. Awful, dog shit, horrible, garbage in the playoffs. It's a disgrace to football watching this Patriots offense in the regular season. But they have won. They have scored as many points as they need to win games. That is true. Their defense has been playing lights out. Their defense is really good. But think about the offenses that this Patriots defense has played. They played the Texans offense without their 2 leading receivers, without their right tackle, their left guard. Okay, that's fine. It's just one game, right? They played the Chargers offense without their starting right tackle, starting left tackle. Omarion Hampton couldn't go in that game. Okay, that's fine. That's just 2 games in the playoffs. Who'd they play in the AFC Championship? Oh, they played the Broncos with their backup quarterback. Well, yeah, their defense is probably playing pretty good. They're playing backups. Their defense is really good, though, and their defense did get a lot of pressure on Jarrett Stidham in that game, and that's a Broncos deep offensive line that's the best in the league. So credit to the Patriots. Credit to the Patriots. They beat up a bunch of backups. The Seahawks are fully healthy. The Seahawks are fully healthy. Their defense is elite. This Patriots offense has been playing like dog shit in the playoffs. 15 points per game, more turnovers than touchdowns. It's just been a disaster. Seahawks by 2 touchdowns. But there are some holes in the Seattle defense, and that comes from the tight end position. Seattle's defense against tight ends this year has not been good. 6 different instances in games this season, in the regular season, where the leading receiver for the opposing team Seattle was playing was a tight end. Dalton Schultz had 9 catches, 98 yards against the Seahawks. Trey McBride had 9 catches, 127 yards against the Seahawks. Kyle Pitts had 6 catches, 90 yards against the Seahawks. All 3 of those performances led the team. Cade Otton, 4 catches for 81 yards against the Seahawks, didn't lead the team. Trey McBride, 7 for 51. The other time he played him, TJ Hawkinson, 6 for 59. That led the team. That led the Vikings. Gunnar Helm, 6 for 51. Shout out Gunnar Helm. That led the Titans. Zach Ertz, 4 catches, 46 yards. That led the Commanders. The Seahawks defense is susceptible against the tight ends, or at least that's what the numbers tell you. Hunter Henry is 6th over the past 2 seasons in receiving yards by the tight end. He was the number 1 receiver last year for New England. He's the number 2 receiver this year. The only tight ends with more receiving yards than Hunter Henry over the last 2 seasons: Trey McBride, George Kittle, Brock Bowers, Travis Kelce, Kyle Pitts. Those are some good names there. This is the way. You got to feed Hunter Henry. I don't think any receiver is going to get a lot of separation against the Seattle defense, and you need to get the ball out fast, to your safety blanket, Drake May. That's Hunter Henry. Your offensive line isn't holding up. I doubt there'll be too many deep shots deep down the field. You're not going to run the ball against this team. The only area where Seattle's defense has been susceptible is to the tight end this year. Or if you have elite weapons on the outside, which the Patriots do not. Although I think it's a good group. It's not elite. I don't think it's total garbage. Like, if you talk to Patriots fans or you talk to Drake May Glazers, they'll make it seem like Drake May's throwing to Uber drivers, mailmen, and the garbage truck driver from down the street. I don't think that's the case. I think Kayshon Boutte's an underrated player. I think Ramondre Travion's an underrated RB duo, and I think Stephon Diggs is still a top 20, 25 receiver in the league. Very underrated. Hunter Henry, top 10 tight end in the league. Like I just mentioned, he's 6th over the last 2 seasons in receiving yards by the tight end. But you look at this Seahawks defense, the only 2 teams to have real success against the Seattle defense are the LA Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do those 2 teams have in common the times they played them? They have great weapons on the outside. Emeka Ibuka, pre-nerfage, pre-Baker Mayfield injury, he went off. He had like 140 against the Seattle defense. Something crazy. Obviously, Stafford's had 2 really good performances. Puka had 200 yards. Devontae, the second time they played, or when they played in the NFC Championship game, he had like 80-something yards. If you have elite weapons, you can expose Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen. The Patriots just don't have elite weapons. They don't. And that's the only time we've seen this Seattle defense get exposed this season was against teams that had really good playmakers on the outside. The Patriots just don't have really good playmakers on the outside. So I don't know how they're going to move the football. They're definitely not going to be able to run the football against the Seattle defense that was number 1 in the regular season in yards allowed per carry. But like we said, we all know who the best defense in the league is against the run when Milton Williams is healthy. That's the New England Patriots. But they were only allowing 3.7 yards per carry in the regular season. And it's not like this Patriots offensive line really imposes its will on the ground. And you think back to last week, or the last game, the AFC Championship, the best drive the Patriots had in terms of moving the football is when they came out in the second half and they ran the ball 8 straight times. And the Broncos have very similar defense to Seattle, rely heavily on the front 7. Seattle doesn't have a Pat Surtain, obviously, but the rest of the secondary is very similar. Talanoa Hufanga, Nicky Manwari, similar type of players that'll line up everywhere, line up around the box, not afraid to get their nose dirty. I would argue the Seattle defense in totality, with their safety play and with their CB2 spot, maybe not safety play, but their CB2 is definitely better. Tariq Woolen's definitely a better player than Riley Moss. It's just they don't have a patch in. Very similar defense is my point. They couldn't move the ball for shit. Oh, but it was in a blizzard. Don't care. Don't care. It snowed. You talk to Patriots fans. It started out like, oh, it snowed for the second half as we got like 3-4 days removed from the AFC Championship. Oh, no, it was a blizzard the whole game. Now that we're a week removed from the AFC Championship, actually, they played in 2 blizzards. Bro, it was really, really bad weather conditions for 2 quarters of this Patriots playoff run, and Drake May had his best throw in that game against the Broncos while it was a blizzard. He was just bad, okay? You can slice it however you want. You can keep making excuses for your boy. He was just bad, okay? I don't trust these Patriots playmakers on the outside. I don't. And that's the only way teams have been able to move the ball consistently on the Seattle defense is by using their elite playmakers and having a quarterback that can give them a chance. The Patriots have that. I'm not an idiot. I'm a hater, but I'm not an idiot. Drake May is a good quarterback, top 10 QB in the league. At least he was in the regular season. He's been a bottom 5 quarterback in the history of the playoffs. Trent Dilfer had better numbers going into the Super Bowl in 2002 than Drake May does in 2026, okay? But I won't object the fact that he's very accurate. He's very accurate. Good deep ball. Great mobility. I love his rushing yards in this game. I'm not giving away picks this episode, but I do love his rushing yards in this game. He doesn't have the weapons on the outside. This offense, it's not Drake May. Drake May doesn't, but also this offense doesn't have the weapons on the outside to move the ball. I don't think they score double-digit points. I'd be unless it's like their defense comes up with a turnover in short field and they capitalize like they did a few times against the Texans and they did against the Broncos, or if there's a pick 6 or Marcus Jones takes one to the house. Like they need plays on special teams. They need plays from their defense. They need short fields for Drake May. I have a tough time seeing them be able to get any type of separation, man. This Seattle defense is the real deal. The Seattle defense is elite against the pass, man. It really is. Oh man, where I have a whole bunch of stats and I can't find them on my note. I'm just going off the top of my dome and I'm not going off of my note sheet at all, and it's just not optimal. Not optimal. All right. Yeah, here we go. Seattle's defense was number 1 in adjusted yards allowed per pass attempt, number 1 in yards allowed per catch, number 2 in net yards allowed per pass attempt, number 2 in passes defended, top 5 in interceptions, top 5 in passer rating allowed. Seattle's defense is also number 1 in expected points contributed by all defense with 81 points. The Texans are second with 65. That's 16 more points contributed by Seattle's defense than the next closest defense in the entire NFL. They are elite. And you expect me to believe that this offense led by Drake May, who didn't play a top 10 scoring defense all regular season, comes into the playoffs, plays 3 straight top 10 scoring defenses, and they're scoring 15 points per game. You expect me to believe that Drake May, who isn't completing 60% of his passes, has more turnovers than touchdowns in the playoffs, is going to be able to come in and move the ball against the Seattle defense that has only been susceptible to teams that have good playmakers on the outside? Shout out Baker Mayfield, Emeka Ibuka. and Chris Godwin back in week 4, and then the Rams are the only other team to have success moving the ball. And you expect me to Drake May throwing a Kayshon Boutte and Stephon Diggs, who they aren't mailmen, they aren't Uber drivers, but they're not Puka and Tay, they're not Emeka Buka. Yeah, they're not Emeka Buka, and they're not Chris Godwin. You expect me to believe that this Drake May-led offense, which has been dog in the playoffs, is going to all of a sudden turn it on and move the ball against one of the best defenses in the NFL? Not a chance. I would be stunned if they score double-digit points offensively. Could they get a Marcus Jones punt return touchdown? Absolutely. Could Milton Williams blow up Sam Darnold and then K'Lavon Chaisson picks it up and runs it into the end zone? Absolutely. But offensively, I have a hard time seeing this team cross half field without a short field. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Drake May rushing yards. That's going to do numbers on TikTok and Instagram Reels. That's going to be a good clip. WWW. That's been that felt good. But I think that's facts. I'm not pandering to the clip farm. I am a little bit, but I also think everything I just said is facts. That's how I feel. Shit, man. I think that's it. I feel like I talked about everything I needed to talk about. I'm trying to think of what else could I have missed. I don't think there's a thing. I think final score prediction, first Super Bowl 60. Seattle 24, New England 10. This Patriots defense is going to score a touchdown. That's how they get to 10. The Patriots offense is not good enough against the Seahawks defense. It's just not.